Hey friends, welcome to the Maker's Gonna Learn YouTube channel. My name is Becca and this is
Rachel.
And we are so excited to be doing a video together for you all today. We are making Minnie Mouse or Mickey Mouse ears. It is almost vacation season, and so a lot of you crafters I know are very excited to create your own shirts and ears and things like that. And so we wanted to bring you a tutorial to show you how to make these with your die cut machine.
Guys, this is gonna be adorable, like Becca said, for any vacation you have coming up. Not only that, but we're here together today because Miss Becca is gonna make you a version using a sewing machine, and I am gonna make you a no-sew version. It's gonna be amazing. And don't worry, if you guys want in on this action, you can click the very first link below and get a free download of the cut files we're using today. So that is gonna be amazing. Everyone can make this. Not only that, but it doesn't matter if you have a Cricut Explorer Air 2 or a Cricut Maker, you can make this amazing project. Let's go ahead and talk about the supplies and jump into the video.
Okay, so I'm gonna go over the supplies that you will need if you want to make the sewn version of this project. So you obviously will need a sewing machine. This is a Brother Runway sewing machine. We do love it. We will link it for you all. And then we also have poly fiber fill. You can also use quilt batting if you would prefer to do that, but we always have this around and it's a little bit cheaper. We do have some craft foam, any color will do. Have some headbands. I have a FabricGrip mat. I have some cotton fabric. I have holographic faux leather. I have sewist clips. You can also use straight pins, a hot glue gun, some fabric shears, some little nipping shears. That's probably not the technical term, but that's what I like to call them. And then if I'm using my maker, I can cut out these fabrics using my rotary blade. Or if you're using your Air 2, you can make a stencil out of cardstock and then make it like a pattern. So you'll put it on your fabrics and hand cut that. So that's all that we need for this project as a sewn project.
And as for supplies for the no-sew ears, all you're gonna need is some headbands. These are from Hobby Lobby. We have some polyfill stuffing here. We just have some foam sheets. Like Miss Becca said, it does not matter what color, any color will do. We have some beautiful fabric here. Any fabric that you choose, it can be any color or pattern that you like. We have some scissors here, some big ones and some little bitty ones. Make sure they are good and sharp. We also have a hot glue gun, a FabricGrip mat, and a roll of holographic faux leather.
Okay, over in Design Space, you are going to import this cut file as is. It is sized perfectly on import for what we want, so we don't need to do any sizing or file manipulation, which is really nice. You can see we have two layers right here of the left and right ear. That will be the front and back fabric piece. Then we have this light pink color, which will be our foam. And you can also cut this out of cardboard instead of foam if you have that on hand. Either one is totally fine. Then we have our bow cut file here. And if you want to size your bow to a different size, we get questions a lot of times, how do I know what my finished bow size will be? And I just look at this bottom piece right here, and the width of it will be the final size of your bow. So that's a good way for you to tell how big your finished bow is going to be. As far as file manipulation, you don't need to do anything differently from the sewn to non-sewn version, so that's really nice. Make sure that you are clicking the link below to get this free cut file if you would like to make this project exactly like we are today. So we'll be using our rotary blade to cut out the cotton fabric. We'll be using our fine point blade to cut out the faux leather, and then we'll be using our deep point blade to cut out the foam. So if you are using your Air 2, you can obviously use your deep point blade to cut out the foam, and you can use the fine point blade to cut out the faux leather. However, you will either need to bond your fabric and cut it out with a bonded fabric blade, or you can cut these pieces out of cardstock and use them as a pattern to hand cut out your fabric. Either way is totally fine. So just depending on which machine you're using, you can go ahead and click Make It and select the material setting that you're going to be using. So the material setting for this one is paper thin faux leather. The material setting for this is craft foam. and the material setting for this is just cotton. So load your mats with the material needed for each mat, and then select the material, load the appropriate blade, and cut out all of your mats. Okay, I am loading my holographic faux leather with the metallic side down on my mat, and I do have my deep point blade installed, and now I'm ready to cut this out. So for those of you with the Air 2 or who are not using a bonded fabric and you are creating your stencil or pattern with the cardstock, I have mine layered here, so I'm going to cut out 4 at one time. And then I've just pinned, I didn't have straight pins, so I'm using needles. I couldn't find mine. Anyway, I've just pinned my pattern here, and then I'm just going to hand cut around with these fabric shears. Okay, so what we're gonna do is go ahead and take 2 pieces of the fabric, and we are going to layer them right side to right side, so we want the wrong side showing out. And we are going to do a 1/4 inch seam allowance all the way around, so except at the bottom. So start at one corner, go around the top, and come to the bottom, and leave this bottom part completely open. Now we're going to do the same thing with these 2 pieces. So just right side to right side on the inside, and then sew around, leaving the bottom open. Okay, now what I like to do when I'm doing a curved seam like this is to go in and notch. So I've got these little bitty scissors right here, and I'm just going to cut little V's along the curve so that when I flip it out, I don't have any weird puckering or anything like that. So just be careful not to cut into the seam, and go all the way around about every 1/2 to 1 inch. Okay, once you have those notched, then you are just going to flip this right side out just like this, and you can go ahead with your fingers in there and smooth that out. You can see we have a cute little mouse ear shape already, which is exactly what we want to do. Okay, there's both of them, and now we're ready to grab our foam here. And what I like to do, the reason I like to use foam over cardboard is it's a little bit more pliable, so you can kind of roll it like this, and then you just want to put it in your ear and let it fill up the whole ear. You're gonna just have to manipulate it a little bit. And the reason that it's so important to only do a 1/4 inch seam allowance is because if you did more than that, then this foam will not fit in there. So when you're gluing as well, you're gonna have to think about that too. So you can see we have that right there. It went in really nicely. It fills that up very good. And then we're going to do the other side, same way. And some people like to do one whole ear, start to finish, and then do the other. I kind of like to do an assembly line when I'm doing it, especially if I'm doing several. Then we've got that, and we can grab our polyfill, and you can do a couple of things. You could fill just the front, or you can fill the front and the back. I like to do just the front, and you make it however full you want it. If you want them super puffy, then put more in there. If you don't want them super puffy, then don't do that. But just make sure they're both even, and make sure that you're using your fingers to get them all the way up here, to get the polyfill all the way up here rather. Good and full. And then you don't want it right here at the opening, because when you're going to sew this or glue it, however you're doing it, you don't want it coming out. So what I like to do is kind of push it up, and then once this is closed, then I work a little bit of the polyfill down. So once they are even, then you are ready to go ahead and close this bottom. So to close these, all I want to do, I like to go ahead and fold this over, and I'm gonna fold it over the back of the foam there. So we've got our poly on this side. This is the back that doesn't have any poly. And I like to just pull this fabric over that. And then once that's that way, then I'm going to also take this piece, or this side of the fabric, and do a roll this way. And then I will do a top stitch sewing these two together. So finished, they will look like this, and then you are ready to go ahead and do a top stitching really close, maybe like 1/8 of an inch from the edge, and close these up. Okay, now we are going to put our bow together. I love these bows because they are so quick, and all we need to do is start out with either one of these. Flip it over this way, and we're going to put a little bit of hot glue right in the middle here. And then these tabs fold over. You just line them up like that. And then once that's dry, we'll put another dab of hot glue right here and then fold this side over as well. And then we'll do the exact same thing with this one. So we'll flip that one over, put a little bit of a dab of glue right here. Fold this over, a dab of glue here. Fold this one over. And then now we're ready to put our entire bow together. So what we want to do is just place a dab of glue here on this back piece. Put the bigger piece down first, just lining up there, right on this sort of bridge of the bow. And then we'll put a dab of glue on the top of that one there. Put this piece down. And now we are ready to attach this. And what I like to do is start in the back. So I'll put glue on the back here, put this piece on, and then let it set for just a second, enough to dry. And then we'll wrap it around and glue on the back as well. Now that we have all of the pieces here, we are ready to go ahead and put everything together here on our ears. Now, when you're putting the ears on the headband, you want to make sure that you're not doing too far down or too close together. There's a happy medium here, so you can refer to other pictures as well. And also, when the headband is on the kid's head or the adult's head, whoever's wearing it, it will move a little bit too. So keep that in mind. I think about here looks good, and then that's where our bow will be. And so what I want to do is just go ahead and put hot glue on my headband here and then attach my ear right here. So keep your hands on it until it's good and dry. Now we're going to glue this side the exact same way that we did the other one. So just put a lot of hot glue on there, place your ear on it, and then let it set until it's good and dry. You don't want to move it at all. Okay, now we're ready to add our bow, and so what I'm going to do is just put some adhesive on the points right here and right here where it will be touching. You can see, place your bow on and then see where your bow will be touching and go ahead and put some glue on those spots.
Okay guys, so I have my ears cut. All 4 of my pieces of fabric are cut. I have my foam cut, my bow already made, and my headband. And now all I really have to do is make my little ears complete and assemble them. You're also gonna need some stuffing here, so I have that over to the side. So we're gonna go ahead and put these ears together. And we're gonna start with just 2 of these. And we're gonna make them pretty sides out. So we're gonna place one down, pretty side up, and place the other one down. We're just sandwiching those together. Make sure you line them up. You can even iron these too if you think it'll help, if they're a little too wrinkly for you. And once you have them nice and straight, you can just start on one side, and we're just gonna peel this up and start gluing all the way around, but we're not gonna glue down here because this is gonna be where we're gonna turn it inside out and fill it with our stuffing. Also, something to note, when you're gluing, make sure you don't go too far in on your fabric here. Keep it close to the edge, just like Miss Becca was doing as she was sewing. Also, I'm just gonna be gluing these in small sections, but make sure you get good coverage on all of these edges because you don't want any little gaps where you haven't added glue because you'll totally be able to see that. Okay guys, now I'm just taking these and flipping them inside out, which is actually right side out. Just be very gentle with this. This is hot glue. It is not as permanent as sewing. So Miss Becca could be a lot rougher with hers. You just want to be a little bit more gentle with these seams because they are glued and not sewn. So once you have these right side out, now you're going to insert your foam just like Miss Becca did. We're just going to curl it up a little bit like a little taco and pop it in your ear here, and just make sure you get these nice and centered up, and then we're going to be able to stuff them and glue them to our headband, and then we'll be done. Okay guys, now that we have our foam pieces inserted, all we have to do is fill these with some stuffing. And I'm just gonna be filling one side of the ear. So I'm gonna use the foam, of course, as our barrier from side to side and just fill one side of this, just until you like it. Just fill it and then look at it, and you can kind of hold it down and make sure you like the way it is. Go ahead and stick your fingers up there and make sure it's getting in all of the little crevices. Okay guys, now that these are filled with our stuffing, we're just gonna be gluing this to the foam. We're gonna glue one side. I'm gonna choose the side that is stuffed. I'm gonna fold that over and glue it to the back of the foam. And now with that side folded in, you're gonna kind of make a bit of a hem, and you're gonna fold it in just a little bit, this other edge that we haven't glued yet. And then we're just gonna glue that to the bottom just like that, so it looks nice and neat. And now this one is all done. The seam is closed and it's ready to be adhered on our headband. So I'm gonna do the exact same thing with the other ear. And now I'm just gonna glue my ears to my headband. And at this point, you'll just take some hot glue and glue your bow down. And there you have your NoSew mini ears. Well guys, what did you think of these adorable Minnie and Mickey ears? I cannot believe how easy these were. Whether you do the sew version or the no-sew version, you are sure to have a ton of fun. Don't forget, anybody can make these, whether you have an Explorer Air 2 or a Maker. Also, click the very first link down below to get that free printable with all of these cut files included. Also, I do want to mention today is the last day of our Makers Can Learn summer sale. Go ahead and grab that yearly membership for $20 off using the code MAKE at checkout. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video.